by, Hermia and Lysander had wandered for several hours together in the wood and were now lost. "You are tired, my love," said Lysander. "Let's sleep here tonight. It will be easier to find our way out of the wood in the morning." Hermia agreed. With a yawn, she lay down among the sweet, scented flowers. Lysander didn't want to leave her side. He found himself a mossy bed a little way off, and they were both soon fast asleep. Along came Puck. "This must be the young man from Athens that Oberon sent me to find. And there's the pretty young maid he shall learn to love when he awakes." Quick as a hummingbird, Puck dripped the magic juice onto Lysander's eyelids and danced away. Moments later, Demetrius strode through the trees, still followed by Helena. "Stop, Demetrius," she begged. "I'm exhausted." But he ignored her and walked on. "I give up." Helena watched Demetrius disappear into the shadows. "Why should he look at me when he loves Hermia's pretty face? I'm as ugly as a bear." Then, to her surprise, she noticed Lysander lying on the grass. "This is strange," she thought, and she shook him gently to wake him. Lysander opened his enchanted eyes. At once he fell deeply in love with Helena. "Where is my rival, Demetrius?" he asked. "I shall kill him with my sword." Helena was alarmed. "You don't need to fight Demetrius," she told him. "Hermia doesn't care about him. She loves you." "Hermia?" Lysander frowned. "I regret the boring hours I spent with her. It's you that I love, Helena." He took her hand and kissed it tenderly. Who wouldn't change a raven for a dove? Helena thought he was making fun of her. "What have I done to deserve this mockery? It's bad enough that Demetrius hates me, and now you tease me too?" Feeling wretched, she burst into tears and ran away with Lysander hurrying after her. Disturbed by the noise, Hermia awoke and called out for Lysander. But to her surprise, she found herself alone. Why would he leave me here? She wondered. Without a clue as to where he'd gone, she set off in search of him. While the four young people hunted for each other in the wood, a group of craftsmen met in a grassy clearing. They'd come to rehearse a play which they hoped to perform at the Duke's wedding celebrations. Bottom, the weaver, was full of his own importance and keen to play every part. But Quince, the carpenter, took charge. "Wait behind the blackberry bush, Bottom, until it's your turn to speak." Puck heard their voices and crept close to see what was going on. Knowing that Titania was sleeping nearby, he saw a chance to have some fun. Puck crept over to the blackberry bush and whispered a magic spell. When it was Bottom's turn to speak, he stepped out, unaware that he had now had the head of a donkey. His friends stared in horror. "The wood is haunted!" they cried, and they ran away in terror. Bottom paced up and down, wrinkling his whiskery nose. "I see what they're doing," he told himself. "They're trying to frighten me, to make a jerk of me. Well, I'll show them that I'm not afraid of being alone in a dark wood." And he began to sing. Bottom's song ended with a loud hee-haw, which woke up the Fairy Queen. Under the spell of the magic flower juice, she gazed at his hairy head and long shaggy ears and fell deeply in love with him. To Bottom's delight, beautiful Titania led him to her flowery bed. There, her fairies hung a garland of rosebuds around his neck and fed him fruit and honey, while Titania stroked his nose and whispered words of love in his ear. "At last, someone who appreciates me," Bottom said happily. Puck hurried away to tell Oberon, who was delighted to hear how well his charm had worked. "And did you find the young man from Athens?" Oberon asked. Puck nodded. "All is done." Suddenly, they heard rustling nearby, and Demetrius and Hermia appeared. "Watch now, here is the young man himself," whispered Oberon. "But that's not the one whose eyes I charmed," murmured Puck. Hermia's eyes were red with tears. As she couldn't find Lysander, she thought that Demetrius must have killed him in a fit of jealousy. "There can't be any other explanation," she said angrily. "You found him asleep and murdered him." "How can you be so cruel to me when I love you?" protested Demetrius. "I am not a murderer. I'm sure Lysander is alive somewhere." But Hermia was certain that Lysander would never have abandoned her. "I hate you, Demetrius. Whether Lysander is alive or dead, you'll never see me again." And she ran away into the trees. Demetrius sat down, exhausted and fed up. "There's no point following Hermia while she's in such a fierce mood," he thought to himself. So he lay down on the grass and he fell asleep for a while. "We must put this right," Oberon said to Puck. "Find Helena and bring her here while I use the magic charm once more." Oberon squeezed a drop of flower juice onto Demetrius' eyes, but before Puck had been gone a moment, Helena appeared, looking very upset, with Lysander at her heels. Lysander was still trying to persuade Helena that he loved her. "Why do you think that I'm teasing you?" he asked, gazing at her adoringly. "Because you vowed to marry Hermia." Their voices woke up Demetrius, and to everyone's surprise, he jumped to his feet and grabbed Helena's hand. "Oh, perfect goddess, my love, nothing can compare to your crystal eyes, your cherry lips, and your skin as white as snow." Poor Helena couldn't believe her ears. She tugged her hand away. "Don't be so mean, Demetrius. What have I done to make you both mock me like this?" Lysander turned to Demetrius. "Everyone knows you love Hermia. Well, now she is free. I wish to devote my life to Helena." You can keep Hermia," replied Demetrius. "My heart was only a guest with her. Now it is returned home to Helena forever." When Hermia heard Lysander's voice, she came running to find him. "Why did you leave me, my love? I was alone and afraid." But Lysander didn't even look at her. "I follow Helena, who brightens the night more than all the stars." Hermia stared at him in astonishment. "Surely you don't mean what you say." Helena looked at her suspiciously. "Did you encourage Demetrius and Lysander to tease me? They both do anything to please you. I thought you were my friend." Hermia shook her fists in frustration. You are no friend of mine, Helena, she cried. You must have crept up in the night and stolen Lysander's heart. She was so angry that Helena feared she would scratch her eyes out. Insults and accusations flew back and forth until Demetrius and Lysander stormed off to find somewhere to fight, and Helena, afraid to stay a moment longer with Hermia, fled away into the night.